Hello, Internet. I'm back for another episode where I tell you about the things I care about in the car industry this week. And it's actually been a pretty good week as there's news out there from Tesla's upcoming Model Y. There's a video of that eCopo Camaro I told you guys about way back in episode 4. VW and Porsche are making some noise this week, and there's a patent for an all-wheel drive Mustang? Question mark. But first, let's talk about the TVR Griffith, as the long-running British sports car was originally supposed to make its return back in 2017. Then that got pushed back to 2019, and as of this week, it's now 2020. This despite the fact that the first run of 500 vehicles have already been accounted for. And in an interview this week with TVR's Heritage Director Paul Thompson, he said that EU regulations are to blame, stating that it takes more time than we expected to start production thanks to the rules of the European Union, and that they're now hoping to see the car launch sometime in 2020. Though when it finally does arrive, the limited run Griffith will come equipped with a 5-liter V8 making 500 horsepower, a 6-speed manual transmission, and a top speed of 200 miles per hour, with a price somewhere in the ballpark of about $117,000. And moving on, thanks to a conference call that took place on Wednesday of this week, we learned quite a bit about the production of the upcoming Tesla Model Y, which will slot under the current top-tier Model X. One of the main things we know about the new crossover is that it'll be built in Tesla's Gigafactory in Nevada instead of next door in Fremont, California, where most of Tesla's R&D takes place, as well as where the current high-volume Tesla Model 3 assembly plant, or Gigafactory, is located. And some people question the move to switch production to a different location from the Model 3, given that the Model Y rides on the same platform and uses many of the same parts, but I'm assuming that given the volume of the Model 3 and what'll likely be a similar amount for the Model Y, they probably don't have the ability to keep pace with production if they're trying to do everything out of one plant, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, Tesla's been pretty tight-lipped when it comes to details about the Model Y, but we won't have to wait long, as last year Elon Musk promised me an official unveiling on March 15th of 2019, which just so happens to be the same week as the Geneva Motor Show. Not sure if these two things are connected, and they may very well be, but regardless, it'll make a nice segue into the next story, as Volkswagen is getting ready for Geneva, and this week they dropped a teaser for an all-new electric VW Beach Buggy, or Dune Buggy, or whatever you call it, reminiscent of the kit cars from the 1960s and 70s. And from what I can tell from the image, it looks pretty true to form to the old buggies, too, with no doors, a roll bar, decent ride height, and some pretty big off-road tires. And since it's electric, I would assume it's all-wheel drive, but who knows? I actually think the thing looks pretty good, though, for a tiny Volkswagen electric off-road vehicle, though it does lose a few points for that light-up badge. Anyway, Volkswagen released a statement to go along with the teaser, essentially stating that they built the concept to show off the flexibility of their new MEB platform, which is VW's new modular platform made specifically for electric vehicles, similar to what you'll see coming out of brands like Cadillac in the near future. Interestingly enough, the release also states that in addition to large-scale production models, the MEB has the potential to facilitate the development of low-volume niche vehicles as well. So that could mean that VW is actually teasing building this thing, or maybe even a thing. We'll see. And to go along with this, it actually appears that VW has been having some serious talks about the possibility of sharing the new MEB platform with competitors. At least that's the rumor, since Volkswagen's head of brand strategy, Michael Jost, in a recent interview with a German newspaper, essentially said the same thing. I'm not really sure how popularly this will be received by their brands, though, as most would probably prefer to build their own. But given the recent developments between Ford and VW, I think it's a pretty safe bet that Ford will have at least one car riding on this new platform before too long. Also, speaking of teasers, Lexus recently hit us with some new pics of the new limited edition 2019 LC500 Inspiration Series, which will make an appearance at the Chicago Auto Show later this month and will go on sale in April with a limited run of 100 units. Apparently a very limited run, actually. Anyway, the Inspiration Series will have the same engine and transmission as the regular LC500, but will also feature a carbon fiber roof, 21-inch wheels, as well as a flare yellow paint job. And to go along with it, you'll get some yellow trim on the inside of the cabin with contrasting yellow stitching on the seats, the console, and the dash, as well as large yellow Alcantara door inserts. Oh, and you also get a fancy yellow tote bag as well. And as I said, you can get your hands on one as soon as April for a cool $107K. So Anyway, some of you out there may remember that eCopo Camaro that made its debut at SEMA last year. And for those of you who don't, it's an all-electric Camaro developed by Hancock and Lane Racing, and the car uses 2 electric motors and 4 200-volt battery packs to produce over 700 horsepower and over 600 pound-feet of torque. And actually, the main selling point is that the electric motor's bell house and crankshaft flange match perfectly to the LS engine, meaning it'll basically be plug and play with any Chevy Performance transmission. So, this week we got our first video of the eCopo Camaro out in the real world, more accurately at a drag strip. And I don't want to spoil the video, but there's a wheelie involved, so I'll say no more other than if you're interested in seeing this thing in action, there's a YouTube channel named Cody Lane that posted a video recently. And if you want to go check it out, I'll put the link in the description to this video, or you can simply go to my like video playlists on this channel and it'll take you right to it. I haven't talked to him or anything, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind a couple of extra views if you want to go have a look. And another Chevy Performance news, the upcoming 2019 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE will be offered with an automatic transmission for $1,600 more. Well, all right, we're done talking about the Camaro. Let's talk about the Mustang instead. As patent nerds discovered this week that Ford has patented a layout for a hybrid all-wheel drive V8. More specifically, a system in which the rear wheels of the vehicle will be powered by a V8 engine, and the 2 front wheels will each get their own electric motors and gearboxes, which will mount directly under the V8. And all signs point to this being the layout for the new hybrid Mustang that's rumored to begin production sometime in 2020. Might be kind of cool. Anyway. And also, Porsche made some news this week, as there's a few different stories out there about the Taycan. Basically, all you need to know is that Porsche is ramping up production of the Taycan even further, and it'll likely be the most successful and mainstream car Porsche's ever produced. Also, the company has invested money in charging stations, and by money, I mean roughly $70 million in North America alone, with a total of $2 billion planned over the next 10 years. And stated on Monday that they plan to have a network of over 700 high-speed charging stations ready by the time the Taycan arrives. And speaking of charging, Porsche has also announced that anyone who buys a new Taycan will receive 3 years of free charging at any VW-backed Electrify America stations. So there's some incentive. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Keep it tuned in here. I'm out.